Well, welcome to the Medical Marijuana and Wellness webinar series. Tonight's topic is what is 420, and we're going to get started. I know today's kind of a special day in the cannabis world. It's 420, April 20th, and I know that when I got involved in cannabis, I heard the term 420 and didn't have any idea of what it was, and it was hard to find out what it was. So tonight's webinar, this is what we want to do. We want to talk about it. We want to kind of give you some information about 420, where it came from, where it's going, and what it could be, and more importantly, what it can do for you. So let me share a screen with you. So I'd like to remind you that tonight's webinar is really here to answer your questions. Please feel free to ask questions. That's what we're here for. We'll try to answer them to the best of our ability. And if we can't answer, we'll get an answer for you. I do want to point out that this is part of a webinar series. You can see we have a number of good topics coming up this quarter. Next week is dosing. After that will be pain management, sleep, anxiety and stress, terpenes, migraines. So please join us for future webinars, especially if you have any of those medical conditions. Now, tonight's webinar is being broadcast on Facebook and will be available to you afterwards. We'll provide you an email that has a link to the video, the presentation, and also has a link to the resources that we use to put this together. Now, if you're looking at asking some questions, and please, I request that you do that. There's a little button that's right down over here somewhere. It's like, looks like two little bubbles. That's a Q&A button, and please feel free to fill that out. You'll see over here in the Q&A, it's highlighted on the screen. But we do have a chat, and we will monitor the chat, but we really pay attention primarily to the Q&A button. And as I mentioned before, you'll be getting a copy of the video for this webinar, the presentation, any discounts, and then also any information that we use to put this together. So let's kind of dive into the topic of cannabis, and more importantly, 420. 420 is considered today to be a cannabis holiday. In fact, there's a lot of people that consider this to be in the cannabis world their big day. This is the day they look for. 420 is referenced a lot, and 420 actually is now April 20th, put on as national holiday. And really all the things that are cannabis are really being celebrated today. And that's what today is really all about, again, in the cannabis world. Now, where did 420 come from? Well, we're going to explain that today. But 420 was created through the stoner culture that came out of the 60s and the 70s. But today it is really entrenched and really part of the whole branding of not only cannabis, but also the cannabis industry. And very few companies don't use 420 somewhere in their marketing and some of their branding that's out there. So this has gone from a countercultural kind of area to basically what I would call almost corporate America or mainstream, really in a span of about 50 years. And what's amazing is that this all happened while the federal government was doing everything they could to pass out misinformation about cannabis and try to really slow us down from being able to use it. So I think this is a testament to when people really see what it's about and know it's safe, then they go forward. Now, there are both pot smokers and non-smokers look at festivals and they look at that as something that's associated with today. And you will find there's a lot of that, especially with discounts from dispensaries and things like that. But the question is, where did it come from? Where did all this come from? Well, what we're celebrating today is really three things. One, what we call recreational relaxation. People who use it to relax, de-stress, use it to be able to make their lives better and just chill out. You call them the stoner community, the flower community, whatever that's there. This is what there's certainly that's something that's being celebrated today. And this is where it came from, to be candid with you. We also celebrate the medical use, the capability for especially senior citizens like myself to have legal access to something that really helps us and really helps me at least get my life back, and thousands of people get their life back. And then more importantly, some of the folks that are involved in the whole regulation of the industry, we still are in a period of prohibition. This is not like alcohol. Alcohol went for years before it got legalized. We're in the process of doing that now. There's a lot of states that still haven't made it legal. The federal government hasn't made it legal. There's a lot of work to be done. And so this is like a lightning rod for a lot of those organizations that are representing that particular point of view. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to play a little video.
In the fall of 1971, a group of high school students known as the Waldos, cleverly named for their hangout place against the wall, inherited a map. The map allegedly led to a crop of abandoned cannabis plants up the coast from San Francisco. So the Waldos planned to meet after school at 4:20 p.m. to see if the map was real. Every day for weeks, they gathered at 4:20, hopped in a '66 Chevy Impala, and smoked the whole way out. The Waldos never actually found the hidden treasure, but the term 420 became embedded in their coded dialogue. While the Waldos pioneered the term, it was their connection to the Grateful Dead that brought 420 into the public eye. One Waldo's father helped the Dead with real estate, another Waldo brother was buddies with Phil Lesh, and all of the Waldos had all-access passes to the Dead's rehearsals, shows, and after-parties, where the term was put to good use for decades to come.
So you can see where the stoner culture, the rock culture came from in this particular area. The Waldos, which there's a picture of them here, were actually a group of teenagers. They were in San Rafael, California, and they were called Waldos because they would meet. They used the term 420 as the time that they would meet on various days that they wanted to smoke pot together. They'd lean against the wall, so they called themselves the Waldos. And then when they found the treasure map, they went on this search for, I guess, for their holy grail to find this crop. Now, what's interesting is they never found the crop, but they did, in fact, give themselves a way of being able to talk to each other and set up dates to have to meet to smoke pot without their parents and teachers and everybody figuring that out. Then it was kind of interesting how it got it started. It's just kind of a local cultural thing, and then their connection to the Grateful Dead had a lot to do with it. You know, the Dead were playing a lot of concerts. They were starting to become popular. This is the early '70s, and they were playing various concerts. One of the places that did play was a place called Wonderland, which you see a picture of it down here. I had the pleasure of growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I can tell you, I am a senior citizen. I was there. I was there on a number of occasions, and I never saw the Grateful Dead there, but it was a fantastic place. It was run by a guy named Billy Graham, who had a great concert series going on. Bill Graham was one of the top promoters from the San Francisco Bay Area. But what's interesting is while they were playing there, they were actually noticed by High Times magazine. What High Times did was they took that lore that was passed between the Waldos to the Dead as a way of, basically talking to themselves and saying, hey, let's go have a doobie, to go getting into this mainstream High Times magazine. And once they got published, it took off around the world. It became kind of something that everybody used as a counterculture to take a look at cannabis. Now, the two main areas that this took off in was Santa Cruz, California, and then also in Boulder, Colorado. There's very large gatherings that go on these days that are up there. And so it became very quickly known, not only there, but it's also known around the world. Amsterdam now has a big festival for 420. So it's become a lot more popular than people think. And what's interesting is we relate all that to what's going on because historically it was something where people would have fun, something where, 420 was rooted in that 70s stoner culture. I've picked this picture off of Facebook where it says, tonight's 420 Eve, don't forget to leave milk and cookies out for Willie. I mean, came from that particular culture, but what it's really morphed into is like a lightning rod to be able to really get medical cannabis on the table in states to adopt it for use to be able to let people get their life back. And then, of course, politically and socially, as we mentioned, it uses an opportunity to push for not only for more states to make it legal, the federal government to make it legal, but also to decriminalize a lot of the sentences for people that are put in jail for pot possession that's out there. So it is kind of an interesting little lightning rod that's gone in there. And it's interesting how it's moved from, again, that pop culture over. I know when talking to this with some friends, I should say some parents, they were mentioning to me it's very similar to Prohibition, where we went through the speakeasies, we went through the moonshiners, the whole Prohibition area, and then we're kind of moving our way out of it. We're seeing the same thing happening now with cannabis, with 420 being a holiday. They never had a holiday for it, but I guess we did. But what celebrations go on? Well, if you look around the cannabis community, everybody involved in cannabis has something going on. So it's become almost an international holiday for people in the culture, the community that really is in pro-cannabis. There's a number of organizations, Normal, SAFE, medical minorities for medical marijuana, Regulate Canada, Regulate Florida, all have major programs going on today, information that's out there. Next Saturday, for example, there will be a conference, a Tampa Bay Business Conference. I'm on a panel. In fact, the Medical Marijuana and Wellness Webinar Series is sponsoring a panel out there. It's on at 12:45. Please join us. And we're going to be talking about cannabis and medical marijuana and also wellness. So you can see we're around the 420 theme. there was a number of things going on, festivals, meetings, gatherings. I was at an event last weekend where there was actually an outdoor concert, and again, celebrating 420. But also the retailers, cannabis retailers, look at this holiday as an opportunity to really pass on some pretty sweet deals. Let me give you an example. If you go to Trulieve, they had what's going on. It's called Doorbusters today. And guess what? The Doorbusters went from 9 to 1, and they now have one going on in the afternoon. Go to trulieve.com and they'll tell you what's going on in your local area with your local dispensary. But they have had and do have 420 deals that work today, and also bundle deals that are out there on almost every product that they have. And so interesting, if you take a look at Move, they're offering 30% off everything, plus swag bags and things depending on how much you purchase. And so again, here's some of the better deals coming out on this day. And they'll run these for a couple of days. In the case of Move, they had what they call the weed walk. So for the last week, they've been offering specials every day coming into today. Other companies that do this, for example, Cetera has offered 50% off everything. That if you know Cetera products are great, and you're going to find that that's a sweet deal. Vitacam's offering 40% off store-wide. So you see this out there. You have also deals that are coming in from people, for example, like Grow Healthy, and also from Cannabalist. So you can see there's, again, 35% off deals that are out there. Pretty good deals off cannabis that's there. Now, there's so many of them going on, I didn't have time to put them all together on a bunch of slides. But if you go to this website right here, the floridacannabis.com, they have a list of all the specials going on here in the state of Florida right now. So that's kind of a quick summary of 420, what it is, where it came from, what it can do, and some of the deals that are out there. Naturally, we have a website for CBD products. Let's not leave them out. And you can get a 10% discount by using MMWW10 for any products that are out there. And I'm going to point out that we have more webinars coming up that's there. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, but please feel free to put them in right now. I'd be more than happy to answer those. I know we do have one question from Diane. He says, how do I know how much to use or what to use during the day when I'm working for pain management? All right, I think what you really mean is working and you are trying to manage your pain. I think that's what you're taking a look at. First of all, if you followed our webinar series, you'll find that we will tell you that cannabis is very personalized. How your body works with cannabis really is up to you. Your metabolism, your age, your condition, all those go into how cannabis works on your body, and only your body and you know what works for you. A doctor can't tell you. This isn't like a pharma drug that they say take 2 pills and call me in the morning. Your body will actually find out when it's in its true therapeutic relief state. But you can get there pretty easily. Now, for pain management, first of all, I'd suggest that on May 18th, we have a pain management webinar. Please join us. But between now and then, you probably want to start by going to your local dispensary. Hopefully you have a medical marijuana card. Get a 1-hour consultation. In fact, if you want to, go to a couple dispensaries. They have a free consultation. You can go to their website and sign up for them, or you can actually call them. They'll actually sign you up, and they can set up a consultation that you can do either in person, or you can do it over a telemedicine type of thing, like a Zoom call like we're doing here. They'll be able to work with you on the different products that they have. They'll make recommendations based on what your medical marijuana doctor recommended, and they'll actually help you find some products that can give you some relief. And more importantly, they'll be there so that when you're trying these products and you're going low and going slow to find out where your tolerance is for both THC and CBD, they'll be there to be able to help you out, plus your medical marijuana doctor. So that's what I recommend you do. I can't give you an exact answer, but you will know. I know I have pain that I have to manage, and I know when I'm feeling better, and I know when I'm not. So I think, again, just listen to your body, go low and go slow. Start with a 1-to-1, take a little bit of it, take it for 2 or 3 days, then just increase it a little bit until you finally start feeling the relief that you want. But wait, do a few days between increasing the amounts. Also, I'll point out that on May 4th, we have a dosing webinar that might be helpful to you as well. In other words, if you do have something that you're trying to use, or you want to get into medical cannabis and you don't know what to use, that's a good webinar to really help you that's out there. Anyway, I've covered everything I plan to cover. We don't have any questions. I do want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I hope that you found this very interesting. I have to tell you, this is one of the most fun webinars I had to research because there's a lot of history there. And to be blunt, I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, And I grew up in the Oakland, Berkeley area, so it was kind of nostalgic. So anyway, listen, everybody, happy 420. Remember, balanced living is not only just cannabis, but also diet, do meditation, mindfulness, basic healthcare, and be aware that, do disease prevention as much as you can. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. And we look forward to you joining us at our next webinar that's coming up in a week. Thank you.